With most of the large-scale tournaments concluded for the competitive season, I want to take a moment to look into some of the best decks for EX8. I also made a video for the BT 2.0 plus the LM set edition, and treat this video as more of an extension of that, and be sure to check that one out as well. To begin with the conversation, I want to start with one of my personal favorite decks that I've been playing a lot throughout these formats, which is Purple Hybrid. Now, last time I talked about 3 different kinds of builds where there's a lot of creativity on which direction you want to go and how you want to play with the deck. After all the national events, I think we have a clear winner on which one is probably the best one to take if you're looking to play competitively. And that would be the Uko Rush version, which performed the best. The original egg-based strategy of the deck focuses on the Dominimon to draw one and trash one on deletion, but now has switched into the BT16 QPmon instead, which gains you a memory by trashing a card from your hand. The main synergy is along with the BT7 Nidhoggmon, and by trashing it, you can gain even more memory so that you can make more plays during your turn. The fundamental is still try to rush at your opponent's security with your rookies, and if they ever get deleted during your opponent's turn, that's when you can go for the Nidhogg combo to gain additional memory to limit your opponent's plays or even sometimes steal the turn back. The SC16 mat is also a very nice tech as it can help you bump your memory gain even more, which is almost as deadly as the Mirage tax. You can do exactly the same with the BT7 Koji when it comes out of security, because you get to draw one and trash one, and always making sure that you pitch away Nidhogg. It's like a hidden hand trap that your opponents don't see coming. EX8 brought in a new purple Syakomon, which fulfills the exact role of what Dominimon tends to do, as you want to draw and trash when it's deleted. But that's not all. You can always choose to digivolve a level 4 on top of it to utilize its inherit effect to delete your opponent's Floodgate rookies. We all know that medieval Gallantmon is an incredibly strong staple card that can be splashed into almost any deck, and definitely expect to see that quite a bit in some of our discussion today, which of course Purple Hybrid can utilize it as well. Mirage used to be a very difficult matchup because they have the full stack plus a Floodgate, but this card alone can get rid of both of them instantly without having necessarily to rely on just Rival's Barrage. I believe that the deck will continue to do well in upcoming formats, which is why I highly recommend you guys to pick it up if you haven't done so yet. And if you guys want to see more decklist videos like these, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for more. And if you want to see even more decklists that I cook up to prepare for future formats, make sure to join the AVAULT Club. And for those who are already in it, I want to give you a huge shout out and thank you all for the support. Next up, I gotta talk about the mega fan favorite with Gallantmon, and I know you guys who are fans of this deck have waited for so long, and it's finally time. The EX8 support brought in the perfect X antibody line that the archetype just needed, with Gallantmon X to help further boost your searching consistency so you can grab your pieces that you need as you climb up, alongside with X antibody option 2. Gallantmon X to cycle, draw, and pitch cards, as well as float Gallantmon back so you can continue your search. And both of them have the inheritable to help you gain a memory during your turn whenever opponent's Digimon is deleted, whether by battle or by effect. Wargrowl X gives protection with extra DP that lasts till the end of opponent's turn, and security +1 with no conditions, which helps you deal damage quickly in order to win games. The all-new Gallantmon X can gain a ton of DP power with removal in the form of DP reduction and deletion effects. If not, you get to trash your opponent's security and unsuspend itself to make an attack again. By pairing it up with the BT17 Gallantmon, you can gain even more DP, reaching new heights of over 20,000, and have a tall standing blocker which is immune to your opponent's Digimon effects. With all these new cards, it gives the perfect tools that you need to climb into your optimal stack reliably and consistently. You can execute many different kinds of combos based on your build to board wipe your opponents, otherwise you go straight for the OTK to win your games. Crimson mode is always a reliable strategy to finish games off during the later stages when both players have a lot of cards loaded in the trash. Both BT 2.5 and BT 21 will be bringing in extra support for Gallantmon, and the good news is that we can expect to see this deck to stay meta relevant for quite some time. In the previous video, some of you guys asked me in the comments on what about the Dominimon and Angels deck and why I didn't cover it. Now, during that time, I wasn't quite sure yet, but after a good amount of tournaments, we can clearly say that it deserves to be mentioned, and it is one of the best decks of the format as well, especially it has topped in all national level events. We're all familiar of how crazy the value you get by running the Patamon and Yellow Vaccine engine. As long as you find a level 4 in security, you can digivolve into it for free, and then afterwards gain a memory and draw a card, and then reset up your security for future plays. BT16 Magna Angemon helps you climb into Dominimon quickly, and once it's out, it can snowball really hard by building a wide board full of blockers that are invincible. This is one of the decks that can threaten level 5 and 6 aces consistently, meanwhile making it difficult for your opponents to remove them at the same time. Angemon Ace can help you keep your security healthy at 3 all times to combo alongside with Dominimon whenever you trash to protect. Since it is a yellow based deck after all, it has tons of DP reduction to get rid of your opponent's Digimon. Oftentimes by building a super wide board, this is where you can attack into your opponent's security safely one at a time. Meanwhile, all your angels that have Ace Overflow will be protected by Dominimon, which you'll never have to pay the memory as long as you have your own security to expense for it. Moving on to the rest of the meta discussion, I also want to cover other rogue decks that made its way through topping in various national events. By no means these are the best decks of the format, it's just really cool to see what other players have been cooking up with their decks and doing well with them that are not as popular. And the first one is Rapidmon, as it makes a bit of a resurgence. The Terriermon base is very efficient at early game control and can scale quickly into your top end. Golden Armor Rapidmon can get rid of small bodies and attack aggressively thanks to Armor Purge. It is very easy to always threaten a Mega Gargo Ace onwards since it can skip the level 5, being able to shut down your opponents from Digivolving, which is a very unique effect. The archetype has a lot of control elements with DP reduction, de-Digivolving, protection, and blocking to maintain the tempo throughout the entire course of the game. Of course, Medieval Gallantmon works well with the deck since it is a green Digimon itself, and now it provides deletion effects on top of everything else. Overall, the deck is very good at the grind game and maintaining resources to ramp up with even more tamers as it progresses. You can always find moments to punish your opponents aggressively and then win games afterwards. Another deck that we've seen a little bit of action recently is Phoenixmon. The bird engine has a ton of recursion and floating whenever it gets deleted to neutralize the value that your opponents gain when they try to answer your board. The Promo Aguni and Ancient Greymon engine finds its way into the deck, which helps it out by a ton. By chunking down your opponent's security with Ancient Greymon, Sora will then allow you to play even bigger bodies such as Garudamon, and then going into Garuda X to regain even more resources from the trash, but also ultimately to give it rush so that it can attack immediately. Eventually, by getting into Phoenixmon and its X antibody form, you get to play even more birds back from the trash. Phoenixmon X allows on deletion effects to happen at the end of attack, which gives you double the return the more sources you rack up with the inherited effects. I think it plays very similarly to most purple decks as it utilizes trash to loop your combos over and over again, which also still remains unique because it's red after all. That just means it also plays well against any other decks that have deletion as its main source of removal, so they can always trade value against your opponents. Next up, I want to talk about Dinomon, which did make its way to top 16 at the Oceania Nats. With the new Tyrannomon and Dinosaur support from EX8, it has a ton of removal and damage, being mainly played as a red-based deck. It also has a bit of recursion thanks to Fortitude, which makes it somewhat similar to the Phoenixmon deck, which we talked about earlier. You can quickly climb up all the way to a level 6 just from a level 3 in one single turn, thanks to Tyrannomon X and Ryotaro to stack your evolutions as you attack. Dinomon, being the main boss card of the deck, can make multiple checks with massive DP and acts as a gigantic defensive wall during your opponent's turn where they cannot attack anything else aside from your suspended Digimon. Aside from countering deletion effects, Metal Tyrannomon also provides protection against bouncing and de-Digivolving effects for one whole turn. Since the deck is red and green after all, that means Medieval Gallantmon is also a must-have. Aside from the color combination, it also synergizes well with any of the Fortitude effects, especially when it comes to Dinomon, so they can chain the on-plays and Medievals when Digivolving. The moral of the story, Medieval Gallantmon is the key into making any old or new deck good. Since the rookie lineup primarily focuses on Agumons, Agumon Ace from the LM set also makes it a good fit as a counter threat as well as to help finish games. You can always choose to Digivolve on top of Dinomon or Medieval Gallantmon, otherwise use its alternative Digivolution requirements to warp straight from an Agumon when you have 2 or fewer security. With BT 2.5 coming soon, I'm really excited to be covering all those new decks on the channel as well. Don't forget to grab your very own copy of the latest Crimson Saber drop along with the special Chaos colorway, which will no longer be available after the countdown. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.